Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my weekly review.
Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here, meeting my icon, Catherine Isabel here.
Across the streams of hopes and dreams where things are really not. Come along if you can. Come along if you dare.
Have a good one. Cheers, guys.
Side of your mind, but please realize you'll probably be surprised.
Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you another video. This one I'm going to be giving my thoughts on the Godzilla anime, which was just released on Netflix in the US. It's been in Japan and elsewhere for, about a month or two now, I think. It was just released on the US and, in the US, excuse me. I'm a die-hard Godzilla fan, have been all my life since I was literally just a little kid in, kindergarten and stuff like that. Godzilla is always going to be one of my passions. I love what they're doing with the American version right now. Can't wait for King of the Monsters next year with King Ghidorah. It's going to be epic as hell. Can't wait for Kong Godzilla. Wasn't a big fan of Shin Godzilla, honestly. That one disappointed me quite a bit. But I was still looking forward to this one. And an anime is something you think they would have done with Godzilla some time ago. Actually being from Japan, you thought that would have happened a few times or something. But no, this is the first real Godzilla anime we've gotten, as far as I know. Yeah, so my girlfriend and I checked it out last night, also wearing a Godzilla shirt right now. Pretty cool. Anyway, and this story is basically about it's in a future where the Earth has been basically ravaged by Godzilla and other monsters, and it's basically driven humanity away and forced them to, basically evacuate the planet. So they've been living in space for, I think it's supposed to have been like, 20 years or something like that. But once they end up doing the the jump with a ship or something to make it back to Earth, when they're running so low on, supplies and everything, it takes things another 20 years late, another 20,000 years later. So yeah, it is quite a bit later for the planet anyway. And we follow our main protagonist is a guy named I'm gonna butcher these names, just a heads up. Hiro Sakaki, and his grandfather is sort of killed by. Well, his grandfather ended up being killed because of their operation here, which is basically supposedly a test, but it was almost like to reduce population, really. And his parents were killed during Godzilla's original attack. At the beginning of the film, which was really well done and set the tone for a really well done movie. Actually, I like this one quite a bit. And I really can't wait for part 2, which we're supposed to be getting later this year. There's supposed to be 3 of these. I'm very much looking forward to it. I like anime, and I'm not huge on it. I like Dragon Ball Z. I really liked Hellsing Ultimate, which I did a video on. I like Tokyo Ghoul quite a bit too. So I watch things here and there, and of course Godzilla would draw me to one. And the premise, although it's one we've seen in like other sci-fi films before about Earth being like supposedly uninhabitable and some kind of threat being on there, that's even kind of the basis of the 100 on the CW. But I still thought it made for a pretty different Godzilla movie, a pretty different Godzilla story. So I think it was still pretty creative as far as that goes. So he has this, or the guy anyway, he has this drive basically to find and kill Godzilla. That's what it's all about for him, to get his revenge and vengeance, or justice, whatever he wants to call it. So they end up taking some people down there to try and see if they can survive on there at this point. So that's basically the setup, and they want to draw out Godzilla as well to eliminate, that, obvious threat that would pose. But they say in the movie that when Godzilla had first attacked originally, they had used over 100 nukes on him at once, and that didn't work. So what could they come up with now that would do anything more? I don't know. But yeah, so I really like this one. Visually, it looks really nice. They went with a 3D sort of CG kind of animation type of thing, I guess. Well, it was a combination of that, and you can tell some things are, of course, drawn out as well. And for the most part, it looked pretty crisp and clear, and it was bright and colored really nicely. I like that. And of course, being released on Netflix US, I did watch the dub version. Once in a while, I can tell that the words from the English voice actors don't quite sync up. But it's not terrible, and you get used to it pretty quickly. It's definitely not the worst I've seen like that. And the voice acting itself from the English voice actors, I think, are actually pretty good. They sound like natural characters, so that's a plus. And the characters themselves, the main guy was alright, the voice actor did a fine job. But past his quest for revenge, there really wasn't much else to him. And there's this female character who steps up at the beginning, but they don't really do much with her. There's this one interesting guy, because as I go through the montage at the beginning, we see that aliens eventually showed up as well to try and help or make some kind of deal, of course, as they always do in some of the Godzilla movies. But even that didn't work to stop them. But we see one of the aliens here who ends up helping our lead. And yeah, there's some good themes presented in this movie, as well as there always is with the more mature Godzilla films. Like the alien comments on what Godzilla could actually represent, as far as divine vengeance, even, or almost like Earth's, or a natural order of punishing humanity for what they've done, and it's kind of bringing it back to that. And we've seen that in a lot of Godzilla movies, and I think it worked really nicely here. I like a lot of the dialogue there with that. Godzilla himself, I think, looks pretty good. Well, this is kind of a really nice thumbnail poster, here, but for the most part, he looks pretty good. I should have probably had more pictures ready. He's very large, probably the largest. Well, there's spoilers, okay? But if you don't want to hear any spoilers, just know it was I really like how self-serious they were with the anime. Visually looked fairly nice. The story was unique for a Godzilla thing. And yeah, so anyway, spoilers. You don't see the real Godzilla till the end, but it's still kind of the same design, is sort of scaled up throughout. And the Godzilla at the end is largest we ever had, 300 meters or more, whereas even Shin Godzilla was only 108 meters, and the current American Godzilla is about 100 as well, or a little bit more. So yeah, he's definitely large, very bulky, very wide, maybe a little bit too wide in certain shots, I think, but still looks pretty good there. The face, I think, could have been a little bit better. It's kind of hard to see his eyes sometimes, and kind of the coloring, it makes it hard to even see his teeth, so it makes it look kind of weird to me at times from certain angles. It's kind of it's odd when you can't really see his mouth and teeth, but I don't know. I got more used to it as I went on, and definitely the ending with when the real Godzilla showed up did look a little bit better and more defined. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes here. I gotta talk about the opening montage too. I've got the original Godzilla and the real Godzilla destroying everything. But you also see some cameos from other monsters here, some that weren't even in Godzilla movies before. We also see some familiar ones like Orga from Godzilla 2000, which isn't cool for me because Godzilla 2000 is my favorite Japanese Godzilla film. We also we see quite a few others. I don't need to go through them all right now, but you can look it up. It was still pretty cool as a fan. We even see a Chimera Cat Cross or whatever, basically the praying mantis thing. I butchered its name, but still. Hedorah as well, and some others. I do hope they use other monsters in the next two animated films here. I know we're getting Mechagodzilla brought back in the sequel, but I hope we get some of those as well. Something along those lines, anyway. And again, I want to praise its self-seriousness. It took very seriously the threat of Godzilla, what it meant, and how it impacted humanity. And it has a pretty dark feel to it at times as well, especially when the threat of Godzilla is looming. It makes it feel very real. So I like that as well. And it does bug me a little bit because, like I said, we don't see the real Godzilla until the end, and the one they end up fighting is born of like all this radiation and just things in the air, the atmosphere, because the real Godzilla is lying dormant for about 20,000 years. Mostly anyway. So it'd be weird to think if this is an offspring somehow. I don't know exactly, but so the one they ended up fighting was quite a bit smaller, probably closer to around like 50 meters or so. And the beam with that one, the atomic breath, it was a little bit weird. It was a little more reminiscent of Shin Godzilla, which I didn't really like how they had Godzilla in that one either, because it's kind of like more of like a laser type of thing. It blinks like kind of like an instant thing, and I don't know. I don't like that. I like my old school, either like breath or atomic ray. Like, it has to have like a big blast and like powerful feel to it. And they sort of get that made up for a little bit at the end, because they end up coming with this plan to basically build up everything within Godzilla, and it causes this Godzilla to implode. Then we see the real and original one emerge at the end that we've seen in the beginning of the film, and it's amazing. How they presented the real Godzilla at the end is just incredible. Visually, it looks great. This is how Godzilla should be done. Fuck Shin Godzilla. This is Godzilla. This and the current American Godzilla are both great. But still, looked amazing. I loved it. Just the way they shot him coming up and everything. It was really, really cool with the sun there and everything. And I just loved it. I had a huge, huge grin on my face. My girlfriend even commented on it. I thought the ending was great. It makes me just want to see more already, but like I said, we're getting part 2 at least this year. And then Godzilla pretty much annihilates a lot of the team, and then of course the guy, he still survived the crash somehow or something, or whatever he's in. He still vows to kill the real Godzilla now, but that's not going to happen. Yeah, so I really like this one, even more than I expected, really. I really appreciated like I said, the self-serious approach they had to it. It wasn't goofy at all. And I bought into it, and I bought into the story. The characters were a little bit wooden, maybe, but Godzilla, especially when the real one did show up, was handled pretty much perfectly. I'd like to see more monsters in it besides his little flying, spawn things. I don't know. But still, really, really well done. And if I'm rating it, I'm gonna rate it about an A- or maybe even an A. It was that good. And like I said, the real Godzilla did look a little bit better at the end than the smaller one in the middle and in the middle part of the movie. His chin has a lot more of a shape to it, as you can see there. It looks pretty cool, actually. I might actually buy a figure of this one. And it just presented and handled so well at the end. So yeah, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, like, subscribe, let me know what you thought about it, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.